Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big League Breakdown. Today, we're going to look at the landscape of the MLB as we hit the midway point of the MLB season. My name is Tyler. Joining me, as always, John, Will, producer Bobby. And guys, it's already almost July. I actually don't know when we're going to be posting this. It might be July when this gets posted, but we are already through a good chunk of the year, and the league is taking shape. Um, a lot of things that maybe we didn't predict, as we'll also be looking back at some of our predictions to start the season and see where they're holding up right now. I'm going to tell you one thing for certain: mine aren't holding up too well, but that is what we are going to do today. This video is going to be the American League, and then the next video you will see will be the National League. So just going to stick in the AL today, talk about what's been happening there, kind of recap the season so far and what to expect moving forward. And with that, let's start with the best team in the AL and one of the best teams in baseball, the Gritty Tigers. I
When do
know.
we ever start with the American League
I
Central?
was about to say,
Well, I wanted to start with the Central because I wanted to start with the best team in the AL. And
You just wanted to get all of the shit talking we're about to give you out of the way right
yeah,
now
right, exactly.
as we
Because
throw you under the bus for ditching
because
the Tigers that, by the way, I predicted would have the best record in the American League. And look at that.
yeah, you were spot on. So far at least, and things are going well for the Tigers. As you look at the Central: Guardians, Royals, Twins, and of course the White Sox. I mean, we'll get into it in a second. I mean, the Tigers are far and away the best team in this division. It's not even close, and everybody else is really, really struggling. When you kind of look into the numbers, it's kind of hard to believe that the Guardians are actually over 500 when you look at some of their team stats. So, um, yeah, the AL Central has been really interesting last year after they were so good last year. But Detroit starting it off, I mean, honestly, just a well-rounded team. Kind of everything has been consistent for them on both sides of the ball. So, I mean, Will, what has made them so good this year?
Everything's working.
all right, well,
Well, you
Okay.
wanted that when a team has the best record in baseball, what could really be going wrong? Like, come on.
I,
They're top five in the American or in baseball in runs scored, so their offense is producing. They're top five in starting pitching ERA, and the Fangraphs doesn't fail on me now. They are top 10 in baseball in relief pitching ERA, or all actually just ERA in general. So everything's clicking for the Tigers right now. I mean, it's what could go wrong with them is Tarek Skubal falling off the face of the planet, but he's looking like he's going to have another Cy Young.
yeah, I mean, like you said, everything is clicking. Because when you look at the best team in the league, you would expect like either pitching or hitting maybe to be like top three. And while it's obviously very close, like it's the fact that it's their bullpen, their starting pitching, their hitting, is all been in like it's like the top six or so for basically all the stats. So they've been just really good all around. Their lineup has produced. Riley Green at the top has done really well. Javi has had a nice bounce back year. Their pitching has been really good.
Best center fielder
So,
in baseball.
yeah, best center fielder on baseball. Yep, Javi Baez. So there's a lot to like about this team. John, do you see them continuing to kind of go on this tear as we enter the second half of the season?
I mean, I don't see why not. Like Will said, they have not only the best pitcher, arguably in not in just the American League, but in baseball, in Tarek Skubal. And then just they have a young lineup with a young core that is full of, it's full of chemistry, full of fire. These gritty Tigers are without a doubt, in my opinion, the best team in baseball. You can say what you want about the Dodgers, but I would love to see what these Tigers can do against those money spending Dodgers.
I
Yeah,
think what I like a lot about the Tigers too is that yes, Riley Green is having a good season, but if you really look at the lineup, no one's really like super standing out. Like there's not like
Yeah.
a true superstar. It's just a lot of people doing really consistent work. I mean, Torkelson's average is back down to the 220s, but he still got 16 home runs and 49 RBIs. Gleyber Torres is batting 280 with an OPS just barely over 803. Um, as you said, Riley Green 890 OPS, but he does lead the American League in strikeouts. Baez has a 289 average, though he doesn't have a lot of power. Carpenter is still getting that platoon split, but he's batting 247 with 14 home runs when he does play. Like these numbers outside of that, Colt Keith, 240, Dingler 269 as a catcher, Sweeney 280, but 594 OPS. Like a lot of these numbers wouldn't immediately stand out as, hey, this is a team that would have the best record and one of the best offenses all around in baseball. But I mean, they're doing it. So it must be from clutch hitting. And then, yeah, the bullpen is doing fantastic again. And AJ Hinch can basically do no wrong, it seems like, with how he manages it. So the fact that you don't have a bunch of people way outperforming expectations is absolutely feels like something that could continue and even, believe it or not, get a little better.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Riley Green sticks out. I think he is the stud of the team. And I think that's something that the Tigers needed for a while. Batting 299. This was as of this morning. Stats could have changed if they play the day, but 17 homers as well. So he's been really good. I do want to highlight on the pitching staff. Casey Mize has had a nice bounce back this year, and that's been huge for them because Flaherty has kind of struggled at times. But Casey Mize, the former one of one pick, 7-2 record with a 2.88 ERA and 72 innings pitched. This has by far been his best season over a sustained excuse me, over a sustained amount of time. And if he can
He's
continue to be
so crazy.
healthy,
He's getting choked up over here.
yeah. If he can continue to stay healthy, because that's been his problem, then that's a really solid piece for their pitching. And even Montero has come in again and done really well as well, because he was kind of their sixth starter, so he's come back and pitched really well too. So as we kind of mentioned, everything's clicking for this team. I guess I kind of asked this already, but do you guys think they will end up finishing with the best record in the AL? I think, Will, you kind of have to say yes because you can't do what I did. You can't back down now.
Oh, I absolutely think they're going to have the best record. And I think it's going to be at least a 6 or 7 game difference in the end. They may be the lone 100 win team in the American League. It may be the lone 100 win team in baseball.
Possible. And John, I think you're kind of in the same sentiment of like this team has looked really good and they can really give any team a run for their money.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, looking at their batting splits, they are tearing the cover off the net. Sorry, let's rephrase this. They are consistent in terms of hitting both lefties and righties uh, hard. They are, they have a batting average as a team in 250s on both sides of the plate, regardless of who they face, whether they be lefty or righty. Overall, this team is consistent and they can keep it up, and they're just riding this wave from last year, and we're gonna see how far they can go, and it's gonna be quite the show.
Yeah,
AJ Hinch plays the match as well.
Yeah, they're looking really good, and as I said, right now, I mean, already a 9.5 game lead in the Central, and the next three teams we're going to talk about, and we can talk about them individually, of course, but I kind of want to group them all together because they're doing really, they're doing poorly, and I think for some of them it was expected, but it's like like I feel like we're going back to the AL Comedy Central again with these three teams because
Yeah, I mean the White
and
Sox really they could have gotten into it this year.
Well,
Wait,
White
you weren't
Sox.
talking about
All
them?
right, let's just get the White Sox out of the way right now. They're actually about a couple games better pace wise than what I had prediction wise, but they're doing exactly what we thought. The one thing is they have surprisingly a potential rookie of the year candidate in their Rule 5 draft pick.
Yeah.
James Smith. That's about it.
I mean, yeah, I don't really have much comment about them. I will say at least we had the same conversation last year. It'll be interesting to see who they move at the deadline. But yeah, like the
Is
guard,
someone finally getting Luis Roberts?
the
Curse
guard.
them if they do.
He's like, please get me out of this city. I will pay you to take me.
I mean, he's going to be a
Please.
free agent after this season because he's got like a team option. And by God, if that team doesn't take the buyout, I don't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, he should be gone after this year. So we'll say what happens with him. Guardians though, like I was kind of alluding to this before. So they're I don't know if they won today again. All these stats are prior to today, but 40 and 39 coming into the day, meaning they're one game over
They
500.
lost today, I
So
think.
they're
They
at
got
500.
slammed by the Blue Jays 6-0.
And I can't believe for the life of me looking at these stats that they're a 500 team because they stink, dude. Like their offense is as bad as we said it was going to be.
Mhm.
Their offense is Jose Ramirez, Shocker, and Steven Kwan, and then everybody else. Like it's really, really bad. Ramirez was batting 318. That guy is the model of consistency, just one of the greats of the generation. Steven Kwan batting 307. The next highest average 241.
That
So
sounds about right.
it's really them and everybody else.
And the
Manzardo,
fact that Ramirez is able to do it from both sides of the plate is even
yeah,
more
he
impressive.
he also got hit today and got pulled from the game, so hopefully that's not anything severe. But him and Vladdy both got hit today, and that was kind of there were warnings and all that, so that was fun. But
Like Zoink Scoob.
yeah. But Manzardo is second on the team with 12 earned runs. But again, man, outside of that, they are horrible. They're bottom third in the league in for team average OBP and slugging, sixth worst OPS. What like I don't even know really what to say about this team because, well, I mean, last year they obviously surprised a lot of people getting as far as they did, and I think I remember saying like when the playoff bracket came out, I said I think they're the favorites in the AL. To go from that to now, you're not necessarily getting that lights out pitching like you were last year, and that offense is really, really showing its true colors.
The thing about the Guardians is they ride on the good pitching and they need to have basically average offense. That's what it was last year. I know in the first half they seem to have really strong numbers from like Ramirez and Naylor and Kwan, but the narrative for the Guardians in the second half last year was that they were drastically falling off. So they managed to make the playoffs, but they weren't much better than like a 500 team in the second half. So I think this year we all were kind of in unison going into the season that they lost Naylor. Well, they didn't. They traded away Naylor, and they didn't do much to replace him. They were really kind of hoping that I guess Manzardo kind of steps up and that they get at least enough offensively from everyone else around him, or well, offensive wise in general across the team, and that the pitching would continue doing its thing. As you said, the pitching is a little under previous expectations for the team. They're more middle of the pack versus top third, but it's the fact that that offense is bottom like five in baseball, arguably definitely bottom like five in the American League. That is the reason that they're slipping, but they are still having at least good enough pitching, and then that's why they just, if you look at them for the last like 10 years, like they were like 76 and 86 a few years back, 80 and 82. They still hover around that 500 team even when they don't meet expectations, but they just need a little offense to help, work along with that pitching. Good pitching is can do great in the regular season, but you still need offense if you want a little bit, at least if you want to get into the postseason.
Yeah, and obviously them not having David Fry for majority of the year has been tough because he was like another guy last year that stepped up for them. This year he's struggled in the games he has played, but it's kind of what you expect, right? If you're a Guardians fan, because you didn't really address anything offensively, and you're kind of taking flyers on guys. Like they traded for Nolan Jones, he hasn't really done anything. They brought Santana back, but like it's not like you've made leaps and bounds in the offensive category, and everybody expected exactly what we're getting. And as Will said, when your pitching is not top five, you're going to really struggle. But I just still can't believe looking at it. Like I'm like, this team looks like they should be like a bottom five team, and they're still they're like the Rays, man. Like they find a way to at least get around 500. It feels like all the time. Like they're just very consistent in that matter. Um, but I mean, their offense has just been putrid, and that trade, getting Naylor out of town. I mean, obviously, maybe there's other factors with that, but that seems like, you know, that was one of their biggest parts of their offense, and now he's not there. So,
Shocker, their big bat leaving is a big impact on their offense.
yeah,
Shocker.
it's
Who
hard
could
to
have seen that
imagine.
coming?
It's hard to imagine, but maybe you can get by with Jose Ramirez, Quan, and Naylor, like beating the hell out of the ball. I don't know, and then everybody else kind of doing what they're doing. But right now, that's just not the case, and it's been
Here's
really tough.
here's the big problem with their pitching staff is that majority of their guys a have a whip of either 1.4 or higher, and that is just not going to cut it. Like that's really bad for a team that is so reliant on pitching to keep them into games. For a mid offense that only really has two guys that are consistently getting on base.
Yeah, I literally I put in my notes. I'm like, how the hell is this team over 500? That was my big question with them. But then
Because
moving
their
on,
pitching's still decent.
it's decent enough. Yeah, moving on to the Twins, another team that's kind of underachieving. But are we
No, they're not.
surprised by it? Absolutely
They're
not.
overachieving.
I was about to say that's
Overachieving.
them overachieving, Ty.
I was
That's
gonna
not
say,
underachieving.
based on my predictions, I had the Twins at holy crap, how can I read this horrible orientation? 76 and 86. Right now they're on pace to have about 78 wins. So they're overachieving a little in my mind.
Hey, today they blew out the Mariners 10-0.
My biggest problem with this team, and it's been the same way for years and years and years, is that as a whole, as a collective, they cannot stay healthy, and that's the same problem again. Like you look at, I was looking at this earlier,
Your
so let me.
favorite baseball player on the face of the planet when he's
Yeah,
healthy. For the
I
3 weeks of the season he's healthy. Is, is
for
who?
for that 3 weeks, Royce Lewis is something else. Let me tell you.
For this year, he was awful.
Yeah,
It was awful.
I mean, the team has played roughly like 80, what is it, 81, 82 games, something like that. And like, I
Whatever
mean,
halfway point number is.
yeah, I mean, Buxton's having a great year. Don't get me wrong. He's got 17 home runs. He's batting 279 in 63 games, but he's only played 63 games. Jeffers has only played 63 games. Castro 58. Royce Lewis 30. Like it's the same problem. This team just has like these, even like if they're little injuries, it seems like it's happening so much where they just have so many guys missing time that they can't stay consistent. Now on the pitching side, Lopez is out for an extended period of time. So I don't really know what to make of this team. Like, John,
Child.
I was gonna say, John, like, is this a team that you think will kind of look to push off some assets when the trade deadline comes around?
Honestly, with the way that this organization's run, I don't think so. I think they think that they're in the thick of this, and that with that third wild card spot, they can make a run at it. They should be sellers. I mean, you got a guy like Joe Ryan who has a whip of 0.887. Not one, not two, 0.887. Like that's just ridiculous. But then you have somebody like, sorry, the font is really small. David Festa has a 1.6. That's putrid in terms of whip. Like that's the issue here with this pitching is that they have guys like Joe Ryan who, when they go out there, they will pitch a gem no matter what. You can count on it. And then you have the remaining 3 games. Who the hell knows what you're going to get in terms of pitching performance?
Yeah,
Remember when the Twins won like what was it, like 20 or 18 out of like 20 games or something it was in like May or whatever going to June. Like they were
yeah,
on a
wasn't
really
that funny?
hot streak, and then just you take that away, like they basically have had one hot streak and have been arguably as bad as the
Well,
White Sox.
and that's the
a
thing
good
is that
point,
they
actually.
started hot and then they started hot, and I remember the Tigers were like battling with them for like first place the first couple weeks, and then the Tigers pulled away, showed their true colors of being arguably the best team in baseball this year, and then you have the Twins who were like, we can't keep this up, guys.
Yeah, well,
I'm trying
that's.
to figure out when that hot streak was roughly because I want to see what
I mean,
they've
it
done
was
based maybe
early-ish
off
in the
the
year,
evidence.
and I'm not even like I'm not beating up on the Orioles, John. When
It
I
Feel
think
like
they had played the Orioles like 7 times in like a matter of like a week and a half, and that's when the Orioles were really struggling. I think they beat them in all those games. So like that was in the midst of that, and then you had
from May 3rd to May 17th, they went on a streak every single day
and
winning.
yeah, no, and what I gathered was that in the month of May they were 18-8, so I figured that had to be the month. So if you take away May, then they are 20-30. Was it 34 for the season?
In
yeah,
June from let me get this
Okay.
the exact dates. June 12th to June 24th, which is 2 days
2 days.
ago.
Yeah,
Sorry. They've won one game.
yeah.
They're back
Yeah,
on the poop
I mean,
streak.
honestly, I kind of forgot about that because dude, that was like one of the hyped up storylines of the first part of the season was, wow, look at the Twins, and then they got Cody Clemens after the Phillies DFA'd him, and he was hitting homers and all this stuff, and it's like,
Mhm.
man, they really have come back down to earth and are just kind of in that mid
Well, I remember they played the
pack.
Red Sox, and it was like they killed them. Like I think they swept the Red
Mhm.
Sox when they played them because that was a big deal because Cody Clemens hit a bomb in front of his dad in
Yeah,
Fenway.
Mhm.
yeah,
So uh, this team really, honestly, the one bright side of it is the fact that Byron Buxton has been healthy.
for the most part, yeah. I
Definitely
mean,
got hurt at one point.
yeah, I'm gonna say
He got hurt as soon as it came out of his mouth.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
for the most part.
Let's rephrase that statement. Byron Buxton's season is still going.
Okay, I'm not one for the. I don't know what this movie is, even though I've seen the clip. What's the scene of a movie where a player like football player takes like a step and like his like ankle breaks or something?
I don't
Whatever.
know, but
I don't
Like it
even
just is
know.
like I don't know what
that's
it.
what's
I
gonna
can
happen to
picture the
Byron.
clip,
Oh,
but that's
please
how I'm
don't.
thinking of Byron Buxton. It's like, and there goes the season.
And it's over.
Sounds like
And
this
back
sounds
to
like
that.
a longest yard clip. Isn't
Maybe.
that the one where they fix his nose and he like does a front flip? I forget.
By the way, in all of this, still only 3.5 games back of the wild card, so the Twins
Yeah,
technically still
because
in it.
that's
So
what we're still at a point where a hot streak like that can keep you in it.
Should
Because around the midpoint of the season and the All Star break, that's we keep saying the like 500 teams are still very much in it. So
yeah,
the fact that the Twins course corrected their mediocre start to the season and were like 6 or 7 games over 500 going into June, that they're still able to stay afloat, but they're gonna
yeah,
fall off.
yeah,
with how bad their June has been, should they uh realistically look to trade a guy like a Pablo Lopez or maybe even a Bailey Ober? Obviously you're gonna get less for him, but like
I mean, you can't trade
even
Lopez because he's
a
hurt.
yeah. Lopez is up
I don't know
till
Plus,
how long
August.
is he hurt though? Could
I
he?
it
think
was
I think
pretty
it's August.
substantial.
Oh
Yeah,
well, then never mind.
yeah.
Oh, so
What about
I just want to say
What
one
about
thing before
Johan
I say
Duran?
something about Ober.
He, well, here's the thing, John. I think it's what you said. Should they? Yes. Like if they have guys on expiring contracts, I don't know what their contract situations are. Should they? Yes. And
Will they?
maybe
No.
yeah, and yeah, will they know? And it's like at some point, maybe it's also just good to kind of mix things up because what's in their recipe, at least the last couple years, of course, they had the division for so long, but it was still a shit division.
No, they
So,
had
What's
the
like,
the
division
recipe?
because it was
Be
terrible.
complacent and
yeah.
let things go our way.
Right, well, that's what
Like
I'm saying. So,
seriously.
like, at some point, maybe mix it up and try, whatever that, like, I don't know. They got to do something. They're kind of middling again, and they're definitely
I
probably
think that's
frustrating to
the
watch.
problem. That's the problem with this division. Every other year, this division is full of is an absolute laughing stock where the best team in the division finishes with like 85 wins.
Yeah,
But this
Not this
year,
time.
yeah, this year you have the absolute juggernaut that will be the Detroit Tigers, and then you have everyone else. But with that third wild card spot, there's that glimmer of hope where it's like, so you're saying there's a chance.
yeah.
Well, we can't get rid of our best guys.
Yeah.
Which
Um,
that's the double-edged sword of the third wild card. You give another playoff spot to to a team that probably deserves it, that just had bad luck, but you also give, a bad team like the Twins hope that, maybe they can make a run at it, and then they waste a contract year on a guy who could have gotten traded to a contender.
it's a good point, right? Because you basically take a lot of teams like the Twins and like the Royals, which we'll get to now, where they're you know under 500, but they're still in the thick of things in terms of the playoff race, so they're not going to likely sell. And
And
you
even
know,
they're
The
going on a
Royals have
bit
such
of a
a
losing
good
streak.
pitching staff
yeah,
that it
well,
really
this
is
is
a
Oh,
waste
no,
to.
hold on. Is it that they have a good pitching staff, or are they aided by that ballpark?
They have no, their pitching. I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway because their pitching's performing well this year, and they're going to play 81 games in that ballpark. They need to have a good enough offense to support it, regardless of what it is. You can make the same argument that the Giants have really good pitching because of their ballpark, and whether it's true or not, it doesn't really matter. They're playing 81 games there, and they need to build a team that supports playing in that environment. And right now, the Royals didn't do much in the offseason offensively other than bringing in Jonathan India. We all kind of still gave them the benefit of the doubt because of what Bobby Witt did last year and the fact that they were this magical team for about 3/4 of the season. But reality's kind of caught up to them right now, and they're just barely getting by. They need to do something drastic at the deadline if they want to shift things, and it could work, but they need to get a big bat if possible.
yeah, I couldn't have said it better because this and that was the frustrating thing about looking at these stats for these teams in the AL Central, because outside of the Tigers, Christ, offensively, this team is one of the worst. It's got to be one of the worst
This
divisions in
it's
baseball for
basic, yeah, and
offense.
this the Royals are fighting with the White Sox for worst offense, believe it or not, in the American League. That's
Yep,
crazy to think about.
yep.
That's just sad.
But I mean, the bottom third in the league in average OBP and slugging as a team. They have the second worst home runs in the league, and I think it's only to the Pirates, and they only have one more or something of them. It's crazy. They have the worst walk
Pirates
percent in the
referenced.
league. And
Arg.
I mean, maybe more than anything, because when they're actually getting guys on base and getting guys in the scoring position, they're batting 222 with runners in scoring position, which is third worst in the league. So nothing has really gone well for them individually. Bobby Witt's having an okay season, only 10 home runs, but is batting 282. He's got a 484 slug, 822 OPS. Pasquantino's been okay. And
Good old Vinny.
yeah, and Garcia has been really good for them actually this year. He leads the team in basically all the offensive categories, average OBP, slugging, and OPS. So
What the
It's not the
hell is
power
Michael
ones.
Massey's on base percentage? 221? What the hell?
that's a tough look.
That's ridiculous.
But
The fact that they still have Hunter Renfro on the team is stupid.
That's the low. He doesn't even have the lowest batting average on the on in the starting on this team, but his on base percentage is so abysmal. That's just
yeah,
terrible. Come
John,
on,
your
take
favorite
a
stat,
walk.
WAR, but WAR in the way that we like. Whereas Hunter Renfro, who's only played in 35 games, has a minus 1.5 WAR.
I think
nice.
that tells you enough about Hunter Renfro and his overratedness for 2 seasons with what was
That
it
was it
with
was
the Rays.
obvious that this was always kind of a once the Royals got him, and after like 1 year, it was like, why do you still have him?
Well, he didn't go
Get out of
right
here.
to the Royals. He went to
He bounced around for a while, didn't
yeah,
he?
Bounced around for a while, but he's been on them.
He
For a
went to
couple
San
years
Diego,
now.
I think. Yeah.
This is his second year.
No, he started with San Diego, was in Tampa Bay for a year. Wow, I thought, and I knew he played in Boston because I was frustrated by that piece of garbage.
found the random guy in the league that
was
John
in
hates,
Milwaukee.
He's annoying. He's not good, but
but he's good against the Orioles.
All right, listen.
Every team's got that guy that you're like, there's no way
Yeah.
this person should beat us, but they do, and you're
Yep.
just like, why?
Yep, that's very true. I mean, look, regardless of everything that's been said, with Witt, Pasquantino at least doing something, Garcia, again, they might still be one good bat away from being, a wild card team again.
Here's the thing: is
And a
though
whole lot of luck.
And a whole lot of luck.
This is another team that probably isn't going to make any moves to really bolster what they need, which is offense, because they have two guys that are batting below the Mendoza line. You have Michael Massey, who's basically at the Mendoza line, batting 202 at the moment. They need more firepower. They need more help than what they could possibly trade for. So the Royals fall under my pretender list, and if they get that third wild card spot, somehow they'll get to the division series, because of course they will, but it probably won't amount to anything.
Am I crazy?
So the Royals.
So I was gonna say,
crazy, yeah.
I thought they were aggressive at the deadline last year. Well, I get they got Urshig, I remember.
The thing about the Royals, I feel like this year, is because of how bad they are, they're not in a rental situation where they could trade someone away for 3 months or 2 months, whatever, of having them and hope it gets them into the playoffs. If they're going to make a trade, it's going to be to a player that they get at least one more year of team control. And so that does limit immensely who's available to them. Now, I still think they could be aggressive if there's a team out there that's looking to get rid of someone that either has a club option or is just trying to retool for the next year or something. But I mean, I think that they could do it, but they have to get really crafty with the trades.
I think they've got too many holes in this ship. I think it's sinking for them.
Yeah, and I think that
crap, we need to pick it up.
Yeah, I know we do.
This is why we don't start with the AL Central, Tyler.
That's my fault.
It does happen every time we start with the Central.
Let's go to the division where it'll take 5 seconds. The West.
The West. All right, let's
move to the West. Complaining.
The Astros are good. Congratulations. Move on.
Well, it's not even that the Astros are good. It's the fact that everyone else is mediocre or bad. The one team that's surprising is the Angels, because they are a 500 team.
Yeah, I don't know where that one came from.
The Astros are basically doing Astro things, which is that you don't count them out. The Mariners are shooting themselves in the foot again, but this time it's that their pitching isn't also necessarily doing them wonders like it has in the past. I predicted the Rangers when everyone was all that the Rangers are the team to beat, blah, 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 bullshit. And then the Athletics pitching staff is horrible. But I've also heard that their ballpark pitching mound is trash. So maybe that has,
to my understanding, their ballpark is trash because they have minor league facilities for a major league team, and that's a bit of an
considering
issue.
They play in a minor league ballpark.
But I'm even talking about the grounds crew and stuff like that. So
considering they play in a minor league ballpark, yeah,
right,
they're not firing an entire minor league staff just because the team's coming in. They're just expecting them to
bring in some guys with experience,
but it's not working. They have experience.
It's just annoying because, and you guys joke about this, but I felt like the A's were like on the precipice of being like a year away from being a year away. But no,
the A's aren't going to be relevant until they're in Vegas.
I actually thought. I mean, it's at this point now. I believe that
maybe, and it would be because of the conditions of the ballpark. I mean,
yeah,
they're probably riding a similar wave to what the Rockies do right now, which is that you can have a decent offense, but you need a different ballpark for your pitching to really get better.
Yeah,
the Angels, by the way, 40.
I don't understand this. They have one guy batting over 250, and the rest suck. Including Mike Trout.
Home run juice.
I'm just saying.
To think of a fun way to say it, but I couldn't figure it out.
Mark McGuire's secret stuff, is that what they're taking?
Yeah, basically. I mean, here, but
minus 46 run differential, by the way, and they're at 500. You gotta tip
Angels,
it.
Yeah, but nobody is hitting over 20, and the
Angels are second in the American League in home runs and fourth in baseball. So it's the home run ball.
I mean, they have 3 guys hitting over 15 home runs, with freaking Joe Adele being one of them. Like, what?
Which is fantastic for a halfway point. That means you're gonna have that many people with 30+ home runs.
Yeah, I know.
I will say, shout out Zach Neto. He's a really underappreciated player. And he's done really well for them this year. 278 average, 12 home runs. He's kind of been their catalyst this year. So,
Taylor Ward.
Well, talking about a trade piece, I've been saying, he's now batting 208, and his home run numbers have definitely creep down because he had
He's
a
at
great start to the
19
season.
home runs.
I know, and when we talked about him like 3 weeks ago, he was at like 14. So his average has gone down, and his home runs have only went up a little bit. So
He's doing fine power
Yeah.
wise.
Also, I apologize again. Small font. Joe Adell has 17 home runs, not 19.
well,
Joe Adell
still
does have
impressive.
17.
Logan O'Hoppe has 17. Mike Trout, it might be over for you, young man.
All right, I'm
This
switching this to
poor
Bobby
guy.
for a second. I'm switching this to Bobby because I have to do it side things that I've been thinking of. Hindsight now. Do you kind of wish the Phillies kept O'Hoppe?
I mean, what were they going to do?
Why they did the trade at the time? I forget.
There was no
Syndergaard-
keeping him.
Was he
There
this?
was no
No, there
keeping him.
wasn't. Was he the Syndergaard trade or the Marsh trade? Because they both
I
happened the
thought-
same deadline.
I thought it was the Marsh trade.
I think it was the Marsh one. So
yeah, I'm almost positive it was the Marsh trade.
Hey Tyler,
There's
this is
just,
the
you know,
level
one
when
of
the
those-
Phillies
reading about
fans
them.
go into a private chat over
Well,
here.
sorry,
shut
I
up,
was
shut
reading.
up. The adults are talking.
I was reading about the Marsh trade earlier because the what was it? The good fight wrote an article about Dombrowski and whether or not he's going to be aggressive in the trade deadline and it pointed to that trade.
Talking
which-
about the American League, you
funny,
National League
but-
fucks.
Hey,
Shut up. The adults are
I mean, there
talking,
was
you
there
last
was no
place
keeping
bastard.
him, so I wrote him off on that trade, so I was okay. And you know what?
Yeah, no, it's I'm
Marsh-
totally fine with it. It's just considering stuff nowadays.
Marsh is very fun
Oh,
when
he's
on.
done actually good this season.
Yeah,
But
he's pretty good. He
we'll
had a
save
very
that for
slow
45
start.
minutes when we do
That's-
the
yeah,
NL.
yeah,
It'll just
sorry.
be me and
Go
Bobby
on.
doing the Phillies, and these two will
Sorry.
leave. And
Might as well get rid of our
We're
boxes at that point.
All right.
I guess touching on Houston real quick, it's frustrating that this team
Fucking
continues
Brogdon.
to be as good as they are. Hunter Brown, by the way, we gave him a lot of shit last year, man. He struggled last year. He struggled early last
Okay.
year. There's the trash can again with his. That's a lot of
God
trash
damn
too.
it. It is.
Bobby, the Phillies belong in that after this series.
Hunter Brown this year has been arguably one of the best pitchers in the league and was dealing again today against the Phillies. So flowers to him, but what can you even say about the Astros, man? I'm just sick of they get rid of their best players and they're still the best team
It's the
in the
pitching is
friggin'
doing a big part.
the
They're doing
West.
enough offensively in a bad division, and their pitching's doing really well. That's pretty much it.
I mean, at this point in time, well, I can't even say that. I'm going to say the Mariners are in second, but they're only one game above the Rangers. So it's like, all right, the Mariners feel like they're the only team that's really going to give them a shot at this division, but I really can't see it. I think they hold the lead the rest of the way, and I think they win it pretty comfortably in the end, in my opinion. Like I don't see them getting caught. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going
I
to be
thought
the
they were going to be
Angels.
similar to what they were last year. I had them predicted basically win-loss wise. I think like a game under what they were last year, and I think they won 88. So
Yeah.
I mean, because they are maybe a like tiniest hint worse. I know it feels a lot worse. It should be because of the offensive pieces that they lost. Paredes has done well. He really has done what they expected offensively. And now that Bregman's hurt with the Red Sox, there's probably a little bit of glad we didn't fall into that trap. But I mean, it's just, but they do have really good pitching, and we said as the season was going to go on, they were going to get guys back. It has happened extremely slowly getting guys back, but no, they're top of the rotation is strong with Valdez and Brown, and Hader's back to being Hader.
And Jeremy Pena has kind of stepped up to be, for a while, obviously he was kind of, hey, he's the
Changed his batting stance slightly.
Yeah, and he was the Carlos Correa replacement, right? And he didn't necessarily live up to that at all. But now this year he's playing really well. He's batting
I mean, he was
325.
wasn't he World Series MVP when they won in 22? I think he lived up.
Yeah,
to
well, I was gonna say outside of that year, because he did have a nice year that year. Hit 22 home runs, and like you said, he was really good in the postseason. But the past 2 years, it was almost like, don't know if this is gonna be our guy here, like we had with Correa. But now this year, he's really stepped up. He's probably
Has always been an interesting piece, just because he was someone that had talent but can never stay healthy for a full season. So I mean, you you were hoping that he could stay healthy for a full season, but you just knew that he wasn't going to be around. It was always kind of a weird thing to me. He was the one expendable guy. It felt like out of all of them during their runs, that or Springer. Though Springer
Yeah.
did get better off in the leadoff spot as time went on for them only.
You want to say one bad thing about the Astros, at least at this point?
Jose
Christian Walker.
Altuve playing left field was the
That-
biggest abomination ever.
Yeah. Christian Walker has not been the best signing so far.
No, he has not. But if he's doing bad right now and their team's still doing what they're doing, then you're thinking, well, crap, when it comes to the second half.
Yeah, I that's you look at things like that, and now I've kind of done that because it's like at some point you're gonna kind of go back to your average. So you would expect him to pick it up a little bit in the second half, and then it's like if they're already this good, watch out. So that is true, but
And
yeah,
Yordan Alvarez is going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
He's not going to bat 220 for the rest of the season. I'm sorry. We
yeah.
all want it, but it won't happen.
Really, the only thing I have to say about Seattle is Cal Raleigh is an MVP candidate, and that's really, really cool. That's all I
Better
gotta
make
say
the
about him.
postseason, goddamn it, with Cal Raleigh.
Oh my
The
god!
good
gonna
old
waste
big
this,
dumper.
Yeah.
if you're gonna waste his 60 home run season, then there's got to be a big change.
I think he will at some point, some kind of wall. I just hope he isn't stopped. He's got to hit over 50 this year. That'd be awesome.
All right, well, I was gonna say, what are his second half stats typically like? Because that's basically what you gotta see.
I don't know. I mean, also he's doing it in apparently the worst hitting park in the league. So I guess
which also
is that out the window now?
But the thing is, what's really not why they haven't been as good is that their pitching's not as good as it's usually been. They're middle of the pack right now, slightly above league average offensively, but their team ERA is just under 4.
Yeah.
For most people, you'd probably say fine. For the Mariners, you might as well have said their ERA is 5, given what their pitching staff has done for the last X amount of years or so. I mean, when you look at their starting rotations, or their starting rotation, Woo's done well. Is Gilbert still hurt or is he back?
I think he's still hurt. I'll double check that.
He's only got 8 starts. But outside of that, you got Hancock and Miller with ERAs over 5. Castillo's got an ERA in the upper 3s. Bullpen looks decent. It's not stellar aside from Munoz, who's done fantastic in the closing role. But they're just, the starting rotation is not quite as sharp as it's been in years past compared to major league rankings starting pitching ERA. They're 19th. So if their pitching can click and their offense kind of stays where it is, they could jump back up. Do I think they'll overtake the Astros? I'm going to say yes, just because that's what my prediction said. But do I truly believe it? Probably not, because I mean, to really get to where my predictions were with the Astros at 87 wins, they need to go 40 and 42 the rest of or 41 the rest of it. It's not impossible, but then that means that the Mariners need to go 47 and 30, 34, and that is a little more stretching it, I feel like.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to the AL East.
All right, let's get this out of the way right away. Orioles are getting better, but by God, they put themselves in the deepest trench possible to crawl out of.
And the annoying thing is too, they got better, and then now they're 4-6 in their last 10 again. They were
one of the better
really
teams in June.
That would be because the heart of the team is hurt right now. It's crazy. Hear me out on this. It is crazy. When Adley Rutschman is hitting, the Orioles are hitting. When he's not hitting or when he's hurt, the Orioles are not hitting at all. And I don't understand. I don't get it. Stop hurting me. I love you.
By the way, I have some really funny stats for this team. By the way,
oh my god!
Show us stuff.
Also, it is so freaking. I don't have graphics, so I don't get to read this one out. But it is so goddamn funny. So
it's not funny. It's hard. It's
no, because it just I don't think I've seen such a weird kind of indication of how a team is doing in terms of hitting and how specific it is, right? So They rank 26 in walk percentage with a 7.6. They rank 27th in strikeout percentage and 24%. They have 24th in WOBA with a .304, 23rd in average with a 236, 24th in total runs with 315. But the funniest thing about this whole thing is that they rank 11th in home runs with 92. It doesn't make any sense. They don't get on the damn bag. The only way they get on the bag is just hitting solo shots. It's so weird.
This is
that
pretty
and
common
when the
thing with
pitching
Orioles.
staff gives up like 6 runs a game.
Oh well, yeah, the pitching. Yeah, I have stats for that too, but that's
Okay.
Yeah, pitching.
Hold on.
But it's still one of the worst.
In the Orioles' defense, this is not. I'm not even going to go through the pitching staff in terms of injuries because it feels like everybody's been injured at one point or another, or on the
And if they haven't been, they will be.
But who did we think that the starting 9 for the Orioles was going to be? Who'd we think?
Whatever it is, it's
As-
probably
as-
not
as-
what it is
as-
now.
7
compared to who's
out
on
of 9 have been on the IL at some point this season for either extended period or a short stint of one way or the other. Like it's the injuries have killed us, and I don't understand why. Send the bug to someone else.
You say that, but it goes deeper.
Here's my counter to that. Yes, that is true. But it would be impactful if they were doing well when they got hurt, which they're not, which is why, like for the Phillies, that Nola got hurt, we aren't missing him because he was dog water.
Yeah, what was his ERA before he went? We gotta
Like
say
over
that
6.
I gotta stop. I gotta stop doing
You
that. I'm sorry.
No, we're not. We're hijacking everything. Is Phillies.
Yeah.
Everything. How
You
many
want
people
it?
got hurt for the Orioles? Phillies.
Do you want to talk
Alright.
about the Orioles pitching stats real quick to get that out of the way, or do
In
you
Oh,
want
terms-
to?
sure. This is hilarious.
Nothing different than but it's nothing different than what we've said for week
20
after week. The one
26
thing
in
I'll
WAR with
say is
3.7.
that Morton's gotten better because his ERA
Well,
is
he
not
couldn't
over
get
6.
worse.
It
Like-
could.
26 and F4
Yes,
with a
it could.
3.7. 29th in home runs per 9 with a 1.39. 27th in ERA with a 4.9. 26th in FIP, 4.42. Your fielding isn't even helping you. And ranked 29th in home runs allowed. So
Yeah,
you just
and you
can't
know
catch a
who's
break on
behind him?
ranked
Basically,
defensive
Yeah,
side
we
of the ball.
still have one of the best bullpens
Athletics in
baseball.
every category.
I mean, you
On
say
paper
that
when the season started.
Yeah, not when the season
on-
started.
on
No, when the
paper,
season
there's not a lot of
started now,
defense. Maybe you have one of the best bullpens in the last 10 games, but you certainly don't have it across the whole season.
It's all when Morton went back to the bullpen, they became elite.
Well,
in
he's
the
back in the
bullpen.
rotation, right?
Yeah,
That's what I
that's a John
thought.
question. Yeah. I mean,
Alright,
look,
so bullpen wise, they are 24th in baseball.
you
You're
know,
right,
it
they
could
are
be-
one of the best.
But again, to his defense,
They're not last. Therefore, they're one of the
sucked.
best.
They had to be the worst at the beginning of the year.
no, I
weren't
mean
they?
we've addressed that they have gotten better.
Oh, hello.
And no,
Did you switch?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
we're switching it back and forth. John's turn now.
I thought you were going to go on a much longer point.
No, I got to interrupt them. Come on. No, we already addressed that they were doing a lot better in June, and I mean they still are doing better. They just have not been as good the last 10 games. So
And the thing is, though, if we didn't have such a rough start or such an injury-filled start, we would definitely be in the thick of things, and also this wouldn't be as impactful as it is. But it is, and we can move on now. Let's go to the Red Sox.
I'm glad
Hold
you
on,
said
hold
that
on.
because I'm like, God.
Let's go to the Red
Quick question.
Sox.
Hold on, before we go to
He's
the
got
Red
more.
Sox, I just quick question. How many more wins do you think you actually would have had?
How many more
If
do I
everything
think?
went the way you had?
I think we would have at least had 10 more wins.
I would have
Van-
said 5.
I was gonna say, okay, all right.
Well,
Just wanted to check.
Yeah, I mean,
They-
5 or 1.
considering-
Five's
the
a
fa-
decent jump.
Considering the fact that our two best pitchers are on the IL or started the season on the IL, and then you have our best hitter started the season on the IL. Then our starting right fielder broke his hand 2 games into the season. And then you have, like I said, 7 out of your starting 9 to start the season, where you put up a 12 shot on the Blue Jays to start the season. Yeah, you Yeah, I think without injuries, we would definitely be in the thick of things and would be fighting with the Yankees.
It's harder. It's hard to tell just because
Well-
no one has performed really what you wanted when healthy. But like I said, if they had played, let's say, like I said, no one got hurt. It's been a perfect doctor happy, no injury season so far, and they get like 4 or 5 wins more because you can't deny the fact that in general, no one except for like O'Hearn has been basically above average. Even Holiday, he's done a lot better than last year. He's average right now, though, as an offense person. But still, 4 or 5 wins different than what they are. 4 or 5 different. We've already said this argument. No, he doesn't.
Oh my god,
But
yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
If
He
there were
literally
4 or
statistically
5
doesn't.
games better, that's like 39 and 41 right now. That's only 2 games out of 500, and that's fine. So really, like, they have clawed their way out a lot, but they still got a long way to go to really make it competitive. If they can keep things, if they can get hot again going into the All-Star break, they might have a chance of being buyers to an extent at the trade deadline, but they need to hope they have another hot stretch.
They got an interesting stretch coming up too, because they got Tampa, who has been really good this year. They get Texas at Texas. They go to Atlanta. They have the Mets. So, I mean, the Mets aren't lighting the world on fire right now. Obviously, Atlanta isn't, who they once were, but at the same time, these are still tough matches. So they're going to have a lot to combat. But yeah, let's move on to the other teams. I think that's the first division we started with the bottom team, but that's how we do things here. I really honestly, I think we can kind of group. Let's talk about the Rays first, because the Rays.
My pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll give Will his flowers because
Yes.
the Rays have been very good. Their offense has been sneaky good this year. Their pitching has been great. Their defense has been good. And as of right now, they are tied, or they're actually a game and a half back of the Yankees for the division lead. So, Will, talk about your Rays.
Mhm. So the thing about the Rays, as I said way back during our prediction episode, was last year they won 80 games and were middle of the pack, or they were 500 team. They're average. They had arguably the worst offensive season in team history last year and still had 80 wins. So you would had to have thought they didn't have to have the best offense in team history like they had the season prior to that in 2023, but just at least something better. And the Rays should have been back to doing whatever it is that they usually do. Well, right now, they are in runs scored. I'm not going to count that. It's about 7th or 8th in baseball. And in pitching ERA, they are 7th at 3.5. So right now you have a top 10 offense, you have a top 10 pitching staff. They are right back doing Rays things, and it's all finally worked out after a month and a half of, and they're going to be mid again.
Also, not for nothing, they're doing this without their best pitcher and without their big free agent acquisition either. So, as we keep saying, or as kind of your point goes,
really a big free agent acquisition.
Hey, for the Rays, absolutely it was.
But it's money, but is it really big?
I know, but regardless, still, like that's a starter.
Speaking of, he shall not be named. There's an update with him.
Yeah, I know. We're not touching that with a 39.5 football.
I was gonna say, I mean, do we
He did a lot. He did that for us.
Okay,
MLB team that got a conviction as well. Where does that put them on the WAR scale?
Like, yeah, realistic question though.
Wins above conviction.
So
the whack, the whack stat
wins above conviction. I got a formula for that one.
Don't. Moving on.
I just wonder how it's all gonna play once the summer heat really hits down in Tampa. Like if things are gonna change.
My understanding, the way the schedule is kind of built for them is during the like a lot of their summer games are on the road. Like they purposely structure their schedule around where the front half and the back half of the season are going to be loaded with home games, and in the middle they're going to be on a road a lot, so they don't have to play in the insane Tampa heat.
Right.
It's a mixture of that and also hurricane season starts in
Yeah.
August.
Starts now.
August. Well, but that's my thing too. Like, if they're going to be playing a lot on the road, so does that affect them? They are, as of right now, 19 and 12 on the road. So I guess that's
Well, then
good
that
for
seems
them.
pretty good.
Right, but that's 19 games out of or
No,
19 what is that? 19 so that's 32 games out of what the
31.
start whatever.
80, yeah.
The starting how many games deep are we into the season?
81 roughly.
80-ish.
80. So, you know, there is something to a routine with these athletes where you can be at home, wake up at home, being on the road has to suck. And playing baseball every single night on the road has to suck. So, realistically, I think that long stretch of a lot of road games is going to hurt.
I don't know, man. Tampa's looking. I like Tampa's chances just because, like I said, they're getting some reinforcements back. They played really well against teams over 500, which is one of my favorite stats, and one of Phillies fans' least favorite stats from last year.
Shut your goddamn mouth.
But yeah, the other team in the division that's kind of surprising is the Blue Jays. A couple games over
Yeah.
500, and they're in it as well. And it's interesting. I mean, now we can't have the conversation of what's going to happen with Vladdy. He's locked up. Um, so I don't know, man. Like it's good to kind of see them in it.
They're a team too that feel it's kind of fluky for me that be where they are. When you
Yeah,
look at their stats,
I
especially.
agree.
They're also another team that I could say had the hot stretch. They before as they were going into play Philly and in Philly. I think they were in a stretch where they had won like 12 out of 14 or something.
yeah.
And right now, when you look at their stats, they are middle of the pack, a hair below league average in runs scored. They are little higher few spots when it comes to OPS and pitching wise. They are 21st in baseball in ERA.
Mm.
So it's not too many things that make you say, oh, this is a little above 500. I say little, it's 6 games above 500 team that's competing for that's in a wild card spot at the moment. They're a team that I do think will kind of fall off in the second half. They won't be maybe as bad as we thought going into the season, though. I guess I'm not completely ruling out that they'll fall off and be under 500 still.
Yeah, my thing too is I kind of can see some regression for them, but does it at least give potential? I know I'm looking way ahead. Does it give potential free agents for next year, like something of like, all right, I know this team wants to spend money. They can do, decent with the team they have now. Because I guess you had that question of like if,
Santander has to stay hurt.
yeah, really.
Anthony Santander can't come back. He can't.
That big free agent signing.
$50 million to be injured for life.
Well, when he was on the field, it wasn't much better either. So
Right,
I don't know.
He's a negative war. He's more valuable hurt than playing.
This time last year, it was all the Orioles had to re-sign him. Blah blah blah. Well, he chose to
I
go
still think he
somewhere
would have
else.
done better. Yeah,
I think he would have too.
stayed. I mean, regardless what it'll be in the long haul of the contract, who knows? But when it's a big change, especially for a player that's been in one place for their first 7 years of their career plus minors, I feel like there's a bit of a culture shock when it gets to the new team. It might be the type of thing that it could be a first half, and then the second half they pick it up, and it looked like it could very well be that for Santander. But he got hurt, and so you don't know what you're going to get when he comes back. He still will probably be a little better, but this is going to hopefully, in the eyes of the Blue Jays, just be, it was an adjustment period. After that, this year, he'll know knows what he's getting into now. He can hopefully do better, and then hopefully the players will actually want to come to the team.
Did at this point in time, do you think Bichette earned a contract extension with the team? Because I mean, he has bounced back, but
I mean, it's worth a discussion. The question is what will the team want to offer him, and what will Bichette want, and that's where I feel like there could be a bit of a divide.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I think the divide might even come in the fact that like I'm not saying he's getting Vladdy money, of course, but I'm saying like
Oh,
based on the contract that Vladdy got, I think
yeah.
now his price goes up, and I don't
In his
know,
eyes, yes.
and I don't know if they're gonna match that. But he has
No.
had a nice year.
I mean,
So
he's tied for the team lead in home runs, so I
yeah.
mean that doesn't say much considering it's 11.
It doesn't
But
say
that's not the
much
point.
because Vladdy has slipped.
Yeah.
Vladdy's got the average. He doesn't have the home runs this season.
We've talked so much about the Yankees and Red Sox this year. I don't really have much to add. I think the Yankees, it's kind of been
Judge,
the
don't
same
get hurt.
thing. Yeah, it's been the same thing we've been saying with them and the Red Sox. I'm happy that
We
they
had a
got.
whole freaking episode. Just about
We
him.
did. We just did. The only thing I'll say about them is I'm happy that they found their ace in Garrett Crochet, and that's really all I can say for them.
I guess the
Yeah,
one thing I'll
good
add
for
on-
the rich. Yeah.
Well, we said it's the second half for Crochet. You really got to see what happens because that's when
Yeah.
he fell off last year.
It's the
Yeah.
fact that they're
was
allowed to have beards now. That is the only reason they're doing
For the
well.
Yankees?
That's only
For the
reason.
Yankees?
wrong.
Yeah.
Come on, you're team hopping.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to add for the
Stay
Red
on
Sox
one city.
is I saw today. No, you're talking to the guys that have been bringing Philly into everything possible. Yes,
I
we're going to
know.
city hop occasionally.
Wait, Ty, does this mean we can bring up the American League teams in the National League episode?
I might just
Yeah,
talk
but
about the
don't
Gritty
expect
Tides. I
to
don't
be.
know.
You're going to be overpowered by the two Philly guys.
Notice how he
You can
doesn't say the
try.
Pirates because he's a goddamn coward.
Pirates are an NL team.
Was he going to
jackass.
say-
I know, but I'm saying you're going in with our team. You won't
Oh,
even go
yeah.
in with your team because you a bitch.
I've talked ad nauseum about how bad they are. What else is there to say?
All
Yeah,
right.
so
Aaron
only
Judge
thing I
is
was
going to
gonna add
hit
on with-
65, and the Red Sox have phoned it in.
Yeah.
But the only thing I was going to add with the Red Sox, kind of piggybacking off of the last half episode we did regarding Devers, I saw something today that the Red Sox are considering talking to Bregman about an extension. Do you think
Hey, well,
Bregman will do it, or do you think Bregman's like, I'm going to keep the cards in my hands with this $40 million?
Well,
taking
I
away?
saw
Do you
something on
believe,
the opposite end that Bregman could be interested in it.
I was gonna say, do you believe Boris? Because the way Boris phrased it, he said he's down for a Red Sox return. is the
I don't
way he
trust Boris in
said it.
anything because
Sure.
I
Boris's
know.
eyes.
That's
He's up to
why
do
I'm wording it
anything if
that
you're
way.
gonna dump hundreds of millions of dollars.
I was
Correct.
about to say.
Right answer. Right answer.
I just, if you're Bregman, like, are you going to get better than 40 mil a year? Like that, that would be my question.
Like we're talking about a new position. Hey,
wait.
you want to be a pole dancer for 300 million? Yeah,
Well,
team morale.
well, the funny thing is that like keep that in mind when we get to not the pole dancer thing. Keep it in mind when we
No,
get
keep
to
that in
that
mind.
point.
Keep that in mind.
the
For
way-
some of these guys and their batting averages, keep that in
It's
mind.
all about
gonna-
playing your position for the team. You can't play
He's
on the
g-
field to contribute outside.
Yeah, that's one way to play the
Some-
position, isn't it?
Some people are DJs and some people are pole dancers. It's just how the world works. Okay. So I mean, 34 or 35, was gonna be my point there. Is that like
What, he's
so
going to be a
if
pole
he's gonna-
dancer?
Yes, he's going to be. No, what I'm pointing is like if there's going to be an extension, how much bigger could it actually be when he's going to be that age?
So
at
that's
that
all right.
point?
So that's the thing, though. If you really want to put that in perspective, think a couple of years back with the Bogarts and the Trey Turner. Now you have the Soto extension and Harper wanting to stay forever. Basically, like
Yeah.
contracts into the 40s is suddenly becoming a norm again. It seems like.
Mhm.
Now,
Well,
obviously,
if
we'll
he
have to
want-
wait 5 years and see what all those players do once they reach around 40 years old, as
Yeah.
to whether then that sticks beyond that. But the fact that it's been kind of happening leading up to this year, I think it's very reasonable in his eyes to say, I want an 8-year extension that'll put me in the Red Sox until I'm like 41. or
For a
whatever.
third baseman
What-
is the question.
Well,
there.
so the fact that the DH is a universal role now, and he is
Yeah.
a very productive hitter, is that if at some point he falls off as a defender, you can stick him at first base or you can stick him in DH.
If the
someone point
Devers
out
thing-
he's
if the
in
Devers
American
thing-
League, which was already had DH.
Well,
if the
it's-
But
Devers
the
thing
fact
never
is now
happened, this
it's
isn't a
But it's a
problem.
little more appealing now too, because if that happens, he could also get traded in the eyes of the team to
Yeah.
anyone. It doesn't limit suitors if a trade happens. We've seen, you just saw it with the Red Sox. Sign someone to a 10-year deal means nothing about like you're staying with us. So
I think Bregman's got to
the
make that
fact that-
decision this offseason, though, because like if he's going to get an 8-year
Mm.
extension, it's going to be this offseason, not maybe next. I don't know, but that third year,
Bro, 8-year
I think it's before the
We
offseason.
also-
I think if
Shit.
nothing happens going into the offseason, then
you're just going to
It's-
stick.
I think it's completely up to him still, because he might decide, I want that extension, and I think I did well enough to get it, so I'm gonna opt out of the 40 mil.
I was
But
hurt half the
he
season, but I
also-
did well enough.
well, and then that was gonna be my other point, is the fact that he was hurt, he might say, I should just keep the money and go.
I don't know, man. $40 million is a lot of goddamn money. That's my only
Well,
point to
I was
it.
gonna say, if
Yeah.
you're gonna give him an 8-year extension, you're gonna pay him 60 or 70, maybe even 80 mil a year, and then
Well, I
if he
think the thing
plateaus,
is-
just fucking have to
think-
just be stuck with him.
I think some players, when they find the team that they're kind of happy with, they're willing to cut back pretty substantially, and on the average annual value, just because they get the guaranteed stuff in the end or whatever, which is different from the
Yeah.
you might get
I know, but he's a Scott
you might
Boras
get
client,
180
though, man.
over or 120 over this 3-year period, but if you suddenly drop off and that number goes from 40 a year to 15, then you're kind of like, eh. Whereas if you could have been like, well, here's 8-year extension, 30 million a year, then you're kind of like, all right, I get 240 over the next 8 years, regardless if I tank.
Yeah. By the way, looking at just mid-season, again, still only halfway point, but my AL predictions are horrid compared to my NL predictions.
My
It's
ALs
bad,
are not
dude.
bad.
My
Well, the
ALs
AL
are
took a
bad.
nosedive
The
across a lot
fact
of
that my
categories.
Rays might
I'll-
actually overtake the Yankees is making me look like a genius.
I
right
think the only division I got wrong was the East.
My division winners for the AL coming into this year were the Orioles, Royals, and Rangers. So that's all you
should
need to
go
know.
take a hot bath.
Bobby, I need a reminder of what mine are. I know I picked the Tigers for the Central, but
I
You're
don't
asking
have
the
them handy.
producer to look up his past.
Producers don't like to look at
I
the past.
have
They
the
just worry about the
Rays,
next check.
Tigers, and Mariners.
Yeah,
So,
I
I feel pretty good.
and the
I'm
worst part
90%
about that,
sure I had the Astros. I played.
I
it
think
safe.
you did too. It's bad because I think wasn't I like our best predictor last year, and that's my AL teams.
I don't know about
that what we
but
decided?
I just
I don't
remember
think
you
you were
were
the
but your thing, of
best.
I
course, is
think-
always the Tigers.
Well, it was because we were doing like a point system.
He
Will was
rode
doing
that
it.
high all the way to the end too. Like anytime we did
Did
like our
you pick
mid-season check-in, I didn't pick anything.
Hey,
But every
who
time we
proved
did
the
our
Red Sox
mid-season
were
check-in-
frauds last
Basically,
year?
it was
Right.
between me and Tyler got it by like a slight edge.
Like
So-
no, but like the problem was that like anytime we would like check it on the AL and any like full scale capacity, I swear to God, this guy's eyes would light up. He'd be like, and of course, we got to get to the gritty tides,
Yeah, hell yeah,
baby. I
baby.
mean,
Best
my
story
That's
in
why
gritty
I'm not
tides.
letting him live it down that he predicted they would be 4th place.
Holy shit! Ah, I'm just saying that he.
I
I know
had a
you're
lot of
right,
vested
and that's why
interests.
he's getting this treatment.
All right, that is all for our American League midseason recap. We will be. Oh, we have to take forever. We'll be back for next video if you want to see another
Really?
long rant for the NL. We'll actually talk about the Phillies in the proper setting, and that'll probably be a long conversation. But all those other NL teams as well.
Phillies video at some point. I think me and him have both just kind of been dancing around.
When
it.
there's a week where Tyler and John want an off week, me and Bobby will just take the mic.
Yeah,
and
we
just
got
go.
you. Yeah, go on vacation, guys.
I
Let's
don't
do
take
Phillies week.
vacations. I am dedicated. Okay,
I
I'm
know,
not.
I-
I'm not like
I-
these fools.
Dedicated, poor, whatever. They're synonyms.
That is unbelievable from you.
No,
On
it's
that
fine.
note, on that note, you can find us on Twitter at BL_breakdowns, Big League Breakdowns everywhere else. If you want to find us on our socials, make sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel for more, and we will see you next time.
Wear your seatbelt. They're talking about Philly next episode.